All right, welcome everybody. Shabbir, good to catch up with you again. I think there are some very important matters to be discussed today, especially concerning the essay paper of 2024. I think it will be good if we can sort of demystify what happened in 2024. It seems to have gone in a very different direction this time. And I think what students need to understand is where to focus and what actually is happening, in terms of the change in the game, what different ways they can prepare. So let's dive in a little bit.
Dave, I have the marks of some students that we surveyed. Uh, Last year's mains examination, the results are out, 24 final results here. We surveyed about 50, 60 students, and it's pretty representative of the marks. I remember last year and before that also, for a couple of years, the toppers averaged around 130, 135 plus marks. That's a pretty good mark, and I've seen students even cross 140 marks. And very rarely do toppers score less than 125. And if anybody is scoring less than 110, 115 was not considered adequate, and 100 and less, okay, was very poor score. In fact, I would say even 110, 105 and less was considered to be a poor score in essays. But this year marks, it shows a very different trend. In fact, essays have been the deciding factor. The GS marks invariably doesn't change much. Those who make it to the top ranks, paper 1, they score around 100 odd. Paper 2, okay, it's a bit more sometimes because of quality, because of social issues. They can touch and cross 110. Paper 3 invariably gets depressed. Very rarely I've seen students in paper 3 score more than 90. The very good scores may touch 100, but paper 3 score generally remain depressed. And paper 4, again, students average 115, 120. This is the normal distribution of the marks across the 4 papers. But this year, and essays used to be around 135 plus, but this year what we find is essays marks have quite a decent range, and good number of students have not crossed 115. In fact, anybody crossing 120 this year was a very good score. I mean, of the students that I know, I could only talk to 3-4 of them who have scored more than 130. And good number of students, even among the top rankers, they have scored 105, they have scored 100, which implies students who have not got the calls, they have scored even less. I won't be surprised if there are students getting just about 70, 80. In fact, one of the marks that was doing the round of the social media was a boy who had scored extraordinaries in his optional, I think 330 plus. Very good score in his GS papers, but essays as less as in 50s. And even interview was very poor by those standards. So I think overall the trend is the marks are depressed and marks of essays are deciding. That's a trend of 2024 results.
So you use the word deciding. Before we go into the why, I want to just pause there for a second. So deciding in terms of what? Is it ranks? Is it qualification? What's going on?
Both. I mean, people not scoring good in essays, okay, they have not even got interview call. They didn't clear the mains. And even when they got the results, okay, the ones who have got better ranks have got better scores in essays, and those who got lesser ranks, essays was a subject that made all the difference. If they had scored just another 10, 15 marks more in essays, they would have been probably in top 200 or top 100 marks. The essay has always been deciding in many ways, but then this year I think the marks are depressed, and it has always been one of the important factors of the ranks, for the ranks.
Now, if we go into the why, right, there are many causes. And, I believe in my experience, it's got a lot to do with the type of essays that we are seeing. in the recent times, especially in the last year. What is your observation about that?
In fact, this was one of the questions student asked me year or so ago. Okay, so is it possible UPSC will revert back to the old model? So two type of topics. One topics are philosophical, abstract topics, which are like wisdom quotes, which are like those eternal principles. Second are topical essays. Topical essays, what I mean by those are issues around current affairs, women issues, environment issues, issues around security, economy. These kind of topics were more common in the older pattern of examination, particularly before 2013. So I was seeing the question papers of class 10th English paper, class 10th paper on civics and history. Even the class 10th board examination papers are increasingly analytical. The questions students were being asked was to compare poems, to discuss what was the intent of the author, to discuss concepts around development. So if a class 10 student now in the new economic policy, where they're testing beyond bookish knowledge, where schools are testing a child's ability to think critically, a child's ability to express their opinion-based answers, it's very, very unlikely UPSC examination will go back to old topical essays for essays. While the questions in the GS paper will remain, discussing current affairs, GS will remain discussing topics of development, environment, women issues. But essay is going to be abstract, open-ended topics, topics that probe one's thinking skills, divergent thinking, organizing skills. So I think this change in the topics and change in marks reflects this. Okay. So UPSC is seeing essays as a way of testing personality. What's your opinion on this, Dave? Because I've seen the topics very closely now.
I think absolutely agree. I would say two things. One is what we have been seeing in GS also is that there is a tendency to move beyond bookish to more interdisciplinary, analytical, opinion-based questions in GS mains, right? And this essentially reflects the NEP and the new way of education that the government is looking at and the whole world is moving towards, right? If AI can answer simple questions, then we don't need humans to think about such things that you can Google and find answers to. Instead, the test is how can I analyze a situation and actually provide a intelligent perspective of what this means. So I think that is the core of where they're going. I totally agree with you that in essays, they don't need to test your economy knowledge, your GS knowledge, your society and social justice knowledge, or your geography knowledge. So I think those questions are going out. They're testing your thought organization skills, your articulation skills. How are you building your arguments? How deep and nuanced are your thoughts? I think the best way to test that, if you ask me, even take UPSC outside the realm, is give something abstract and see what the person can say. And pretty often we realize that, okay, I can just write 2 sentences. I don't know what to do beyond that. And that's what students been telling me in the Telegram channel also, that, sir, I don't know what to write. I write 2 lines and I get stuck. And lot of them use standard patterns like P.E.S.T.L.E, or, okay, I have to write the Indian context. They have these rules, right, to write essays. And I think that's a very dangerous one, because when you're dealing with abstract topics, you can't put the same lens as a GS lens or the subject matter lens to it. I mean, it is very interdisciplinary in its appeal.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think that's what I would say, that when I saw the 2024 question paper, and I know it's a little subjective, except for that social media question where social media is triggering a FOMO, all of the others were abstract philosophical, like eternal knowledge, as you said, right? Pretty often people struggle with this kind of thing. So thought organization is what I would say is kind of the core area that's being tested here.
And I will add to this, the mindset of students while writing essays is, sir, how to fill up 10 pages. Okay. Sir, पॉइंट्स बता दीजिए और मैं 10 पेज लिख डालूं. The focus is not on, sir, what can I say for insight based writing? So what can I say for demonstrating my ability of critical thinking? Sir, मैं political angle डाल दूं क्या? मैं environment angle think of this topic. Okay, mathematics is the music of reason. I mean, first, what does this topic mean? What does mathematics mean here? Is it just number, numericals, calculations, derivatives? Like, what is reason here? And then to fit this topic into political angle, economic angle, ecological angle, it's impossible. So it's a mindset hai that I want to fill pages. I want to somehow get the essay paper done, and not seeing essays as a medium where personality is getting tested. Essay as a medium where one's thinking skills are tested. अगर ये realization ही नहीं है, okay, then the student will struggle.
They're testing your thinking skills. Students often think that they're testing your writing skills. So this is where I think most of the confusion lies, because, I always say that thinking, thought organization, and critical thinking, this is what you learn in the essays course. This is what you should seek to understand, that how to think, how to lay down ideas, how to prepare a storyboard, how to go about your arguments in a logical way that is compelling and nuanced. Yahi, I think, is needed, but students often rush into writing, right? Before doing their research, which is, reminds me of one of our teachers in college used to say that if you have to cut wood and you have 4 seconds, then you should spend 3 seconds sharpening the saw, so that the 1 second is all you need to cut the wood. And I think that's the reverse of what they're doing, is 1 second of thinking and 3 seconds of writing. I think we should reverse that to 3 seconds of thinking and 1 second of writing. The question then is, what is to be done? How should students prepare differently for these kinds of essays? That's the big question, right? How must they prepare for 2025? Mains is close by. How should they think about this problem?
The problem with essays preparation is there is no syllabus. There is no one book to read and finish. If there is no structured content to be read. So essays writing is primarily mindset training, and the more a student exposes himself to discussing topics before he actually writes, the more a student exposes himself to, okay, what are the scope possible in a topic, and it has to be mentoring based discussion. Somebody moderates it, somebody guides a person through. And I'll recommend all students, okay, I and they, for the last almost 2-3 months, we have been actively hand-holding students, actively mentoring some hours in a week. You all must join our Telegram channel, Essays with Edukemy, okay, where it's not a course, it's a regular sessions of conversation, discussions, where you write short paragraphs, one sentence, or paraphrasing. Okay, it has to be continuous. And those who are preparing for 26, you have good amount of time, use it wisely. Apart from this, I'll recommend, so there are 3 things students can do. One is, they have to give more time to essays. Now, one common peeve point for me is 4 GS paper 1, paper 2, each 250 marks. And for each paper, on an average, student spends about 2 months. History is 60 days of classes. Geography, 40 days of classes. This is almost, 3 months types for each paper. And they score 100 out of 250. For essays, which is 250 marks, they're not willing to even spend 10 days. Okay. So, and the returns are huge. Your scores can go crazy from 70, 80 to 140. 60 mark difference ho jata hai essay and deciding. So I think there should be continuous mentoring, guided mentoring, and I'm happy to say that this is something available with us. Okay, free of cost, just join and talk to us. They must be willing to spend more time with essays and read books beyond the regular GS books. And I must thank you, Deb, the way you have been discussing the philosophies, okay, those thinkers, students. See, if a topic is an abstract topic, a philosophical topic, you must have some part of the essay discussing a philosophical topic, philosophy based. You cannot strip down an abstract topic and make it current affair based.
In fact, Shabbir, I'll pick up what we have done in our essay course. One of the things we talk about is the implied wisdom of a topic. And I think it's very important to know whether this thing is coming from existentialism or stoicism or Vedantic philosophy. And when you quote that, automatically the quality of your essays goes into the next orbit. So, totally agree. And I think what we are doing in the Telegram channel free of cost is basically continuous practice, right? It's not a channel where we just post something and you see it. You actually participate, you post your responses, we correct your responses, we give you personalized advice कि इसमें ये नहीं था, इसमें वो नहीं था, आप ये add करो, ये subtract करो. And so I think you get a very clear picture of where your strengths and weaknesses lie and how to move forward. So I feel it's like gymming. You want to get fit. So you go to the gym and you spend 30 days with a gym trainer. But after that, the gym trainer goes off and you have to continuously practice. So the way I think about it is our essay course is like the gym training with a trainer. But when the gym trainer goes, the course ends, you have to continue the practice. And that's where the Telegram channel comes in, free of cost. Come to the gym, practice the essays and go out.
It's something I and Deb enjoy doing. Okay, it's a passion. Deb himself has been a writer. Okay, nothing excites a teacher more than developing students into thinking at a higher level, not pumping facts. So essays is an excellent way of teaching and learning. So join us on the Telegram channel. And of course, if you want to join us on the course, perfectly fine. Essay is a very nice way of even evolving your thinking. And guys, one more point here. Those who are preparing for 26, my recommendation is break that model where people do essays at the end. Most of them wait for GS course to be over, clear prelims, and then spend maybe 5 days or 10 days in essay course. No, you can break free of this routine. Start essays earlier. You need 6-7 months to groom yourself into a thinking process. तो आपका advantage है. Okay, you don't have to wait for the regular GS schedule. An essay will not take you more than maybe 2 weeks to understand the nuances. उसके बाद तो practice है.
Don't jump into writing. First, understand the topic, frame your thoughts, lay them out in a storyboard. I think, Shabbir, you talk about the essay canvas in our course, which is extremely important piece of the puzzle. So I think the help is out there. I feel like this is not unapproachable. People can score 140 and they have done it. I think we are all thinking intelligent individuals and it is a way of jogging our brain to make sure that it works the right way.
I can tell Dave, you are the only person in the entire UPSC ecosystem who's teaching essays through philosophies. You're the only person who is adding that type of content, where essays can be written through those philosophers, discourses around existentialism or stoicism or absurdism or nihilism. So it's interesting. I've loved watching your videos. I'm sure we can look forward to more students joining and learning this way.
Learning happens where it's fun, right? So I think we should make it fun. We should make it enjoyable. And I think they know it all. It's just like showing them the right way to think about it. So let's get going and do some essay writing and enjoy the process.
Thanks all of you. See you again. We're coming back with another video soon on essays.